That brings me on to why am I talking about feminine energy today? And it very much just comes from my own journey into self-development. So my journey into self-development very much started when I realized that my dating and relationship world was tanking. Um, my career world was very much sorted. All the other things, I had all my ducks in a row for all the other areas of life, but my emotional world was very much crumbling to the bones. I had gone through an epic breakup. I was struggling on those dating apps. I was finding it hard to connect with men. And I stumbled into the world of self-development pretty much because I wanted to find a man. And so let me know in the chat if any of this, feel free to communicate with me in the chat at any point. I will be keeping my eye on it. If there's anything that you resonate with, if there's anything that I'm saying that isn't 100% clear to you, then please let me know. Because it's a pretty intimate group today, and I think we might as well just address the things that are most useful for you. So there I was on YouTube, ferociously searching every single feminine energy concept you can imagine, right? Like how to chat with a man, how to connect with a man, how to attract men. And I was reading a lot of old school books like The Rules, which was quite literally written in 1943, but that just goes to show how desperate I was at the time. And I was also reading some of the originals, like Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. So I was really very much piecing together a lot of free content that I was finding on YouTube, on podcasts, in books, piecing it all together, stringing along a feminine energy story that wasn't 100% correct. I went ahead, I implemented it into my dating and relationship world, and I watched the whole thing crumble. If it wasn't bad enough before I started self-development, I noticed that the outcomes in my dating and relationship world were absolutely 100 times worse once I started implementing feminine energy. So I know that we've had a few people join since we started. Welcome, Ingrid. It's so nice to see you. I feel like there are other people in the chat that I would like to welcome, but I can't see everyone's name. So thank you very much for joining. So that is pretty much the reason why we're doing this today. I want to give this to you with a high level of clarity, so you don't make the same mistakes as I did, because I know some of you know my personal story, but my dating and relationship world didn't just go 10 steps backwards. It actually got quite dangerous at one point because I was very much implementing these techniques that just completely inaccurately. So let's start from the very beginning. So this is the framework I'm going to give you for your feminine energy and your masculine energy concepts. And anything that doesn't fit into this framework isn't authentically feminine or masculine energy. So feminine energy is the world of emotions, and masculine energy is the world of actions. That's it. You've got it. That's the framework. Okay. So feminine energy, world of emotions, masculine energy, world of actions. That's all it is, right? Now, both men and women have feminine and masculine energy. I, as a woman, have feminine and masculine energy. A man has feminine and masculine energy. The word feminine and masculine is already a little bit of a confusing element because we have strong connotations from society about what it means to be feminine and what it means to be masculine. It really doesn't mean anything. You can call it red and blue energy, pink and purple energy. The only thing you need to really understand is that there are two different types of energies. One is masculine, one is feminine, and that is it. And that is pretty much the entire framework. And anything you learn outside of this masterclass, if it doesn't fit in to either of those categories, then it is culturally nuanced. And I would invite you to question how authentic that information is. And we're going to get into that in so much more depth as we carry on. But that is basically the basics. So beginner queens, you are already into the intermediate phase. Congratulations, that took you 2 minutes. That is quite literally what the concepts are. Okay, so why is the concept of feminine energy constantly being shoved in our faces on every YouTube video and every book that we're reading, every podcast that we're listening to? So the best place to start with this is that we live in a masculine energy world. So remember how I mentioned that masculine energy is the world of action. So what is that? So the masculine energy world is very much the world of thinking, actioning, implementing, learning, strategizing, problem solving. doing, physical action, mental action. It's the world of the mind, right? And so we live in a masculine energy world because, especially, I know that all the women in my community, you have incredible masculine energy. You went to school, you got good grades, you entered a career, some of you did further education. We live in a world where if something's not really working out for you, then your go-to strategy is education. Your knight in shining armor is quite literally education. So what you'll do is you'll go and you'll learn something, and then you'll kind of think about, right, how do I implement this? And then you'll patch up your life and everything will be fine and you'll move on. If you don't like your job, you'll get another one. If you don't like your career, you'll upskill yourself in something else. If you're having problems with a client, you'll figure out the strategy to improve that relationship, right? You've got very fine-tuned masculine energy. You are boss queen women, right? You know what you're doing. You're gunning the masculine energy world, and you've been conditioned to be a masculine energy woman from pretty much the get-go since you entered this world, because that's what a masculine energy world is. You do a job, you do something at work, whatever the hell it is, you know, either in real life or you're on the computer, you implement action and you get rewarded with money. That is the quintessential example of what masculine and a masculine energy world is, right? And you're really, really good at it. So the downside to being in a masculine energy world is we are equally conditioned since childhood to downplay our emotional world, which is the world of the what? The feminine, right? So what does this mean? It kind of means that all this while you've been hyperachieving and going to school and getting good results and doing really well in your masculine world, you're kind of being told to suck up your emotions a little bit. It reminds me of, and I'm sure we all have an example of this, right? It's not a reflection on our childhood. We're not at childhood yet, but I'm sure we will get there later on, right? It's kind of a reflection on, like, maybe you fell over in the playground and maybe someone said, you know, be a big girl, don't cry, you know, you've got this, you know, it's okay. And you kind of suck in your emotions and you swallow them in and you don't really allow your world of the feminine to really be expressed. We become really good at sucking in our feminine energy because we're rewarded for it all the time. Right. I don't know why, but one example comes to mind, which is in that show, Sex in the City or Sex and the City. I don't know if you guys ever watched that. But when what's her name? Samantha, who's like this, basically like this PR boss queen, she owns her own PR company, and she goes to this meeting with a client, and he basically decides to not take her on, and he's a really awful, like chauvinistic, horrible man. I don't know if you guys know that episode. Let me know in the chat if you actually remember this episode. And she basically, like, he won't employ her because she's a woman, and all she wants to do is run to the toilets and cry. And I think, I can't remember what happened, but she either cries in front of him or she just makes it to the toilet to cry. But I think that is a beautiful example of the shame we experience to be in the emotional world. We're all human, aren't we? We all have emotions. So isn't it super weird how the world kind of conditions us to suck in our emotions and be like, hey, actually, no, it's not okay for you to be human, but you must be productive. You must be very in your masculine energy, make money, doing an action. And I've literally got two notes here on my right-hand side, which is do not bring up capitalism and do not bring up the patriarchy, because we're staying focused on dating and relationship. But those are my two favorite topics. And this very much does tie into that, right? But what you can, I think, gather here is that the world of the feminine is considered to be dirty, it's considered to be vulnerable, it's considered to be weak, it's considered to be shameful. And the world of the masculine is considered to be something very wonderful and something very good. And this is pretty much, we're pretty much set up for our dating and relationship world and our emotional worlds to fail from the get-go. And you're probably thinking, well, okay, if this is the case, Leena, then why is it that some people are doing okay in relationship? I think we all suffer from this to a certain extent, but there is a specific type of woman who does very badly in dating and relationship. I can tell you from my own personal experience of being in that category of women. Everything I teach, by the way, guys, this is by no means a masterclass on how to be me. If anything, this is a masterclass on how not to be me and how not to make all the horrific mistakes I've made in my own dating and relationship world. That's obviously why I've come into the coaching world. So, you know, it's because you are a high achieving boss queen woman who has very, very well fine-tuned masculine energy. And that is the reason why you suffer more in your emotional world because the feminine just hasn't played a strong enough part. And we're going to get into that in so much more detail as we go along. But for now, I think it's safe to say that your emotional world gets left behind, right? Now, I think I did go off on a bit of a rant, so let me just get back to the script. Yes, no, the crisis. This is a very important note. Okay, so the crisis is something that pretty much happens to all of us. I know it definitely happened to me. It doesn't have to be a crisis in your dating and relationship world. It was for me. It was an epic breakup for me. Sometimes it's almost like an existential crisis. You hate your job. Something in life isn't working. Life just feels really hard. It just doesn't feel, something just doesn't feel good or easy flowing. And we find ourselves crashing into the world of self-development, right? So what are we doing there, Queens? Effectively, what we're doing is life isn't working out for us. You know, I don't know why, but the number 32 seems to be a really significant number in the world of any woman I speak to. It was a massive number for me. I had a massive breakup when I was 32 years old, and it caused me to go on a massive existential crisis. I broke up with myself. I broke up with the universe. I broke up with him. I broke up with all my hope, joys, and pleasures. I know that a lot of women I speak to experience something similar as well. It doesn't really matter. I've got queens all the way stretching from their 20s to their 40s in my community. So it's not really about age, but the point is that you have a life crisis of some sort. And for those of us seeking help in our dating and relationship worlds, it tends to be something around, my dating and relationship world isn't really working out. So how can I fix that for myself? Can you see where I'm going with this? We immediately resort to the masculine. Let's fix this shit up. Come on, let's get the man. So what we do is we basically get onto YouTube, we start self-educating ourselves, and we start trying to patchwork up our life in the only way that we know how, bless us, because our emotional worlds weren't nurtured. And so we use our masculine energy. So what does using masculine energy to patch up the emotional world look like? What doesn't it look like? It looks like driving the relationship. Who's been here? Has anyone been in a relationship where you just feel like you've been driving that thing into the ground, right? It kind of looks a little bit like you're in a relationship and you're having conversations with him and he just doesn't really want to have the chat, you know, the chat of, hey, where is this relationship going? Are we, you know, do you see a future for this relationship? Do you want to have kids? Do you see us together in a year or two? Do you see marriage in your future? Do you think we should move in together? And you kind of feel like you're flogging a dead horse a little bit, right? Like he's not really initiating these conversations with you. It doesn't really feel like he's emotionally in the connection with you. It could also look like trying to create intimacy by yourself in the relationship. It can look like the sexual side of the relationship is dwindling and you're just trying to you're on YouTube again, trying to patch up your world. Like, okay, how to be more seductive to my man, how to communicate more clearly with my man. And it's actually, you know, I make a lot of comedic references only because it's only too sad to be sad for this entire masterclass. But it's actually pretty fucking heartbreaking when we are so trapped in these relationships that don't serve us. And we feel stuck and we feel isolated and we feel on our own. And we're very much just trying to fix it for ourselves and we don't know how. And that is a very lonely and isolating experience. And look, I know what that feels like, right? How else does it look like? It looks like going on those dating apps and swiping left and right until 2 a.m. on Tinder, right? You're swiping left, you're swiping right. You know, it's like a game of Russian roulette. Do you guys know what Russian roulette even is? It's someone blindfolds you, hands you a gun, and then you basically just shoot in whichever direction feels fit to you. And this is how a lot of you are using the dating apps, right? You're swiping left, you're swiping right. You kind of think about some type of rationale when you log onto the app, but then 2 hours later, you don't even know what you're doing anymore. And you're like, who am I even swiping right on? And you kind of lose the plot. And it's a waste of time. It's frustrating as hell. It's soul destroying. It's quite literally the opposite of heart connection, which is, let's face it, why all of us come into the self-development world, why all of us are even on a dating app to begin with. It looks like you're going on a lot of first dates. You're trapped in that never-ending cycle of first dates where you're like, how hard can it be to get to a second date or a third date? Or you're ending up trapped in 3 month to 6 month to 1 year relationships that never really lead anywhere. And you kind of knew that he wasn't really the one at the beginning, but you were in making do energy. You just thought, well, I might as well give someone a go. And so basically, you know, this is what it looks like to drive and fix your emotional world from the masculine. So I don't know if any of you guys have experienced that. Let me know in the chat. I know some of you have already told me that this is pretty much how your journey started, but I'm interested to hear how it is for you. This is the worst part. At some point, most of us give up. We're like, masculine energy isn't really working. The energy of action, doing, problem solving, implementing, strategizing, it's not really working for us. So we kind of just give up. The thought of even looking at someone else using a dating app triggers us to the bone. We very much become an avoidance energy. We end up using our masculine energy to build a really incredible world for ourselves, with holidays, with friends, with career opportunities, with projects, with hobbies. And we kind of, because we don't really know how to fix our emotional world, we're kind of like, well, that's not working, so I might as well find happiness elsewhere. And once again, we use the masculine energy to fix our world because we simply don't know how to tap into our feminine. And if you guys stay till to the end, I am actually giving you my feminine messaging strategy tool. So it's the Screen Select Connect strategy tool for the dating apps, which is basically a feminine energy messaging technique to actually connect with a man from your heart. And this is something that we don't really, look, we're not really taught how to do this. So I think the main thing I kind of just want to say around this point is there's no shame in it. We were conditioned to do this from the very beginning. It's not our fault that we didn't know how to access our emotional worlds. But throwing a lot of mud at the wall, you know, like on those dating apps, doing a lot of action without a lot of heart power beneath it isn't really going to solve the problem. So we're going to deep dive into that so much more today. I'm really going to explain what feminine energy is to you, so you can actually have a look at your own dating and relationship world and have a look and see where are you using your masculine energy? Where are you using your feminine energy, and where is it imbalanced? Where can you actually shake that up so you can get better outcomes? And hopefully that's all going to become a lot more clearer to you as we go along. So the main thing I just want to say is there's no shame in this. I did it. You know, a lot of women I speak to have done this. It's kind of pretty much, it's not as unique a story as you think. So let's just put that to bed and find a better way that's slightly more effective in actually being able to connect with a man and get that soulmate heart romance. That's the actual thing that we're looking for, right? Okay, so this brings me on to, well, what the hell is feminine energy? Because we've managed to go this far without addressing this in the slightest. So I know that we've got some advanced queens in here. So I'm going to keep this super simple, but then we're going to build pretty quickly. So feminine energy is just the world of emotions. So we've got that. We've already passed to stage 2. It includes things like joy, love, warmth, happiness, you know, all the good stuff, right? It's basically the opposite of action, driving, and controlling. So feminine energy alongside those kind of happy, easy breezy emotions. And I call that the light feminine. So the light feminine is basically like happiness, pleasure, joy, let's love the world, abundance, right? All of those things are feminine energy, but it's only one side of the feminine energy, and that is the light feminine. And we're going to talk much more about what the dark feminine is today. But I will not plot spoil. We will do this in logical order and I will not go off tangent. So feminine energy is the opposite of action, control, and driving, right? It's trust. It's letting go. It's doing things for the hell of it, doing things because they're fun, because they're pleasurable, and there's no other reason for it, right? And, you know, because we are in a masculine energy world, we do have a tendency to fall into control quite a lot because we've just been programmed that way, right? So what does feminine energy in the sense of pleasure, letting go, and trusting look like in dating and relationship? And I don't want to confuse you, but I'm going to say this. It looks like dating a guy just because you like the way it feels to be around him, just because you enjoy his company, just because it's pleasurable to be around him, not to be confused with casual connection, right? Because that's where your masculine comes in. Your masculine is like, I'm looking for soulmate partnership, I'm looking for life partnership, or whatever it is. You don't have to be looking for that, right? But whatever it is, it's your masculine. Your masculine is the world of focus. So your masculine is like, let's just give the example that you are looking for soulmate partnership. And I think pretty much all of you are on this call, but correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free to drop it in the chat. But your masculine is, I am looking for soulmate partnership. You know, the love of my life. I'm going to outlive this man and we're going to spend the rest of our life together, right? That's what you're looking for. The feminine is I'm going to pick men where I feel safe to be around them. It feels fun to be around them. I enjoy myself. I'm not hyper focused on hitting those relationship milestones, but I'm equally comfortable with talking about it from the masculine when the time feels right. And it's that balance that is really, really hard to strike between the masculine and the feminine. And I'm going to break this down because I wasn't actually planning to tell you that because I went completely off script, but I'm going to break that down because I know that we are a slightly more advanced audience here. Okay, so let's talk more about what feminine energy isn't. This is something I'm really, really passionate about, guys. Feminine energy is not wearing a flowery dress. It's not, I'm sorry. And this is why I get angry with the way that sometimes feminine energy is. Anyone who comes into the coaching world comes in because they've had a bad time. No one comes into the coaching world for the hell of it, right? There's a story. Every coach has a story. And I believe from the bottom of my heart that anyone who comes into this field is teaching from their heart and with pure good intentions. But there's so much room for things to get misconstrued. And in the Facebook group, I mentioned that if you've been piecing together free content, there are gaps in your story. The same way I implemented feminine energy incorrectly, right? Because there were so many gaps in my story that I just wasn't implementing it correctly. And I'm now going to have to start speaking at the speed of light because I've got loads of content to go through. And I know that we are halfway through this masterclass, right? So it has nothing to do with being feminine. Those are societal connotations, right? Being light, being airy, breezy, Maybelline, you know, that is a societal connotation of what feminine energy is. It doesn't have to be your feminine if it doesn't feel right with who you are as a person. So if you hate wearing flowery dresses, if you hate pastel colors, if you hate wearing heels, if you hate wearing makeup, great, throw it all in bin. It's not going to up-level your dating game, getting a personal shopper, having a makeover. None of that stuff is going to impact your dating game. You are perfect just the way you are. And the actual only problem is that you don't realize that yet. And we're going to get into that so much more tomorrow when we talk about the empowered method. Being feminine is not being the nice girl. I can't reiterate this enough, okay? Now, the nice girl is a manipulation tactic. It's something that we are all taught as women, unfortunately. We are conditioned by society to be the nice girl, even in this day and age. The most dangerous thing about being the nice girl is that not only is it manipulative, and then that's really harsh on ourselves because we didn't even know that we were being manipulative to begin with, but it actually teaches us to believe in our own disempowerment as women. It has nothing to do with feminine power, and that is why it is so heartbreaking. Okay? So I had 3 points on this. Feminine energy is culturally nuanced. If it doesn't fit into the framework of feminine energy being the world of emotions, and masculine energy being the world of actions, then throw it in the bin. It is not feminine energy. Okay, it's someone's opinion on what feminine energy is. And I want you to allow yourself to throw it in the bin. Okay, here's a really important point. Being in your feminine is not smothering or suppressing the masculine. So I want to explain this in more detail. So a lot of us, when we come into this field, so remember how I started off saying, well, we live in a masculine energy world and you're too masculine, right? So that's the messaging a lot of us hear, and it's not true. So you as a high achieving woman, as someone who's got their life in order, you've got your ducks in a row, this is your masculine energy, and your masculine energy is very fine tuned. It's what you've got your shit sorted in life. It's you're thriving in all the other areas of your life. You know, nothing is perfect, but you know where you're going. You know what you're doing. Your masculine energy is high. It's up here. Now, your feminine energy is very low because you've been conditioned by society to purposefully suppress and push down your feminine energy. When you come into the world of self-development, you start to increase your feminine energy world up here. You're like, oh, it feels really good to meditate. It feels really good to be in my emotions. Oh, I didn't realize I wasn't connecting with my heart. Let's start doing this. And then we do this really weird thing. And I know I definitely did this, right? We start increasing our world of the feminine. And then we subconsciously, by accident, without knowing, start suppressing our masculine, because by accident, we thought that being in the world of the masculine was bad, because you've got people like me telling you, but we live in a masculine energy world, and look, you're doing this and you're not doing this. So do more of this. And you're like, well, okay, I'll do more of this, then I'll do less of this. No, you've got this sorted, queens. This is really good. Your masculine energy is really, really good. This is going to serve you so well in your dating and relationship world, but it's the feminine that needs to catch up. So stop, don't suppress your masculine. Masculine energy isn't bad. Masculine energy is good. It's your superpower. You weren't born to have this as a superpower. It was conditioned, whatever, we're going to take it. But it's about increasing your feminine energy. So what does this actually look like in your dating and relationship? Well, because some of you might be like, sounds familiar. I'm not sure if I'm doing that. It looks like letting men take the lead on a date, but it doesn't really feel good to you. So it could be, for example, like a man's like, hey, do you want to like go and meet for a coffee? And you're like, for fuck's sake, like nothing could be more boring than a coffee date. But you know what? It's just the first date. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Come on, let's just do it. Let's get it over and done with. Sure, yeah, that would be wonderful. I can't wait to meet you. Liar. That's not what you want to do. You want to go on a more exciting date, but you're not communicating that, right? You're playing the nice girl. You're scared to be a pest. You're scared to be a bother, so you're not saying anything. What else does it look like? Oh my God, okay, this is a big one. It looks like, who has been on a date, right? Where a man has, I don't know, he's touched you, he's done something to trigger you, okay? He said something that's given you the ick, he's done something, he's put his bony hand on your shoulder. I don't know why his hand is bony, but let's just say in this example it is, or he's touched your knee and your whole body, I know I've definitely been here, right? Your whole body just contracts. It just contracts. You're like, oh, I can feel his hand on my shoulder. You're like, oh, you know, it's like just sitting there and you're like, oh, please go away. But for some reason, you're not actually saying anything. You're just swallowing your emotions. You're swallowing your feelings, right? And there's a part of you that's kind of just, your mind is like just rationalizing it away. You're in your masculine and you're like, you know what? It doesn't really feel good for this man to be touching me. His hand is super bony, or it's cold, or he's touching my knee and it doesn't feel over sexual. I don't like it. But you're like, but I know that I'm hypersensitive. I'm oversensitive to touch. I know that I'm just the type of person who doesn't like to be touched. I know that, I don't know, you know, maybe I'm just being overcautious, overreactive. And so you swallow your feelings and you don't say anything, right? Another example of this is something happens on a date and it makes your whole body contract. You're like, oh, I didn't like that. I don't feel that great about that. But you don't actually say anything and you don't even allow the emotion to come in. You kind of hold the emotion in your stomach and then you scurry home and you go home and you lock the door and you go into your bedroom and you lock your bedroom door and you sit on your bed and you're like, that date was a mind fuck. I have no idea what just happened to me. And you try and analyze the feeling from your mind and you can't figure it out. And all this while, you haven't expressed yourself on the date. You haven't said, hey, take your hand off my knee. That doesn't feel good. Oh, I really prefer if you didn't do that. Your hand is so bony. Or whatever you want to say, okay? Whatever you want to say. You don't even have to communicate. So let me break this down for you, right? The feminine is the feeling. Oh, I don't like that. It feels gross to have his hand touch me. It feels gross for him to say that. Something doesn't feel right. I don't feel safe anymore. That's the feminine. When you allow yourself to actually express that on a date, you're allowing your world of the feminine to come out. When you allow your masculine to step in, right? So remember how I said sometimes we have this tendency to suppress our masculine, but when we allow our masculine to stay up there high, it will sound a bit like a communication statement, like, oh, you know what? It really doesn't feel good for you to put your hand there. Could you please remove it? Or, you know what? Action can also be, it doesn't have to just be communication. It can also be just moving his hand up, be like, oh, that doesn't feel good. Thanks. But so many times we don't do that. We either suppress our feminine or we suppress our masculine or we suppress both of them, right? We're almost like emotionless and actionless on those dates. We're not setting boundaries. We're not doing anything on those dates, right? So that is the number one mistake that all of us, myself included, make when we enter this world of feminine energy. And this is why I don't teach it, because it's too intellectual, right? I think a lot of us get it wrong because it becomes over intellectualized, but it's effectively suppressing our masculine and not allowing our feminine to actually, our feminine is our intuition and she drives our masculine. So when the feminine is like, oh, this doesn't feel good, and the masculine is like, okay, great, how can I help you with that? They come together in unison. And I'm about to say something that most people won't tell you because it's a very advanced level concept, but I'm going to say it anyway, and I'm going to confuse the hell out of you. The feminine cannot exist without the masculine, and the masculine cannot exist without the feminine. And that is why I don't teach it, because when we teach it as separate entities, it becomes super confusing. And you're going to learn so much more about that in the empowered method tomorrow. Okay, so I've just gone through the examples of what it feels like. Yeah, when we're suppressing the masculine as well, like we only allow the parts of the feminine that feel comfortable to us to come in. So the light, airy, easy breezy, maybe, oh, it would feel wonderful to go on a coffee date, even though you hate coffee, you know? So we only allow the positive parts in, and we don't allow the dark feminine in. So this moves me on to, what is the dark feminine? So the dark feminine is all the parts of our emotional world that we struggle to actually accept or embrace. So that can be things like rage, anger, wildness, passion, fire, you know, your fieriness, boundaries. Boundaries is pretty dark feminine, right? We kind of went through that just now. We only embrace what's comfortable to us. And this is what makes our relationships go from bad to worse. And this is the classic mistake we make when we go into the self-development world, because we're like, well, I've got to be this perfect, highly functional person. And actually, the feminine is almost like channeling your dysfunction into power. And that is sacred. I don't know if you've heard of sacred rage, but that is so important as a woman to channel. I could just go on and on and on about that, but I'm not going to, because I want to keep to time. But when we're not embracing the dark feminine, that's often when we're getting these signs and symptoms of men kind of just walking over us a lot. Men ghosting us, getting bored of us, not finding us a challenge, right? So I'm just going to do a little bit of a check-in. Have I lost everyone already? Newbies, are you following the concept of feminine and masculine? And my intermediate and advanced queens, are you following, are you seeing how we're kind of now tying together some of the concepts that maybe you've been actually studying and listening to for years, but we're now talking about it on a very different level? Let me know in the chat. Okay, so we're going to go through a quick feminine energy myth buster. So I really want to show you more tangible examples of where we might not be implementing feminine energy correctly into our dating and relationship world. Okay, so dating problem number one, the men who like me on the dating app. So basically, this is when you have an app and you can see who's liked you already. So the men who like me on the dating apps, I don't really like them. I don't really find them attractive. Or the men who are my actual match on paper, I don't find attractive. So it's kind of that scenario if you're just not finding your perfect match, either in attraction level or just actually in achievement level. He's not on the same earning level. He's not, you know, on a same intellectual level. Thank you so much, Nirosh, for that feedback. It feels really good to hear that, because I'm like, am I just going on and on about something? And people are like, what is this woman talking about? So that feels really good to get that feedback. So thank you so much. So what I'm going to share with you today, every single person on this call is going to get this, and my wonderful assistant Emma is actually just taking a note of all of the names so I can send that to you. So if I don't have your email address, please send it to me, because you are going to get my Screen Select Connect messaging strategy. It is a feminine energy messaging strategy. It is not a script. I don't teach scripts because I don't tell you who to be. It is a strategy that has space for you to be who you are and connect from your heart with a man. And I want you all to have it, because it is fucking awesome, quite frankly. It's changed the world of my clients. It's changed the world of my friends. It's up-leveled my own dating and relationship world. So I really, really want you to have it. Private message Emma your email address if you would like this training and you think that I might not have that already. Okay, tomorrow we're going to talk so much more about dating apps, queens. We're going to talk about dating apps, how to get them to work for you, the key mistakes that are happening. Tomorrow, I'm also going to share with you, for the live queens, a dating profile revamp. It's your magnetic as fuck dating profile revamp. It honestly will change your world. And I actually have issues with sharing this with people, because what happens is your dating app will become better than mine. And then that's an issue for me. Okay. So this is a really amazing training. I have given it to all of my friends. I have given it to my clients. And it really does change the type of men who are attracted to your dating profile. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. Okay, so for future queens, if you're listening to this from the future as a recording, you're thinking, hey, you know what, I would really like to have that Screen Select Connect messaging strategy for the dating apps, then there will be a link popping up somewhere on the screen, or maybe come out of full screen mode and scroll down, click it. You will also be given the opportunity to book a one-to-one feminine energy strategy call with me, where we will basically go through your dating strategy at present. We will look for where the pain points are, and we will try and assess if it is because you're not using feminine energy correctly there, and if your feminine and your masculine is out of balance. So if you're interested to learn more about feminine energy in the context of your personalized dating and relationship game, click that link, fill in the questionnaire so we can start on a very intense and deep level. We don't have to do the small talk. And when you book that call, you will get your Screen Select Connect messaging strategy as soon as you book that call. Live Queens, if you are interested in booking your 100% complimentary on the house one-to-one strategy call, you want to look at what your dating strategy is at the moment, and if you want to see how you can renovate that and improve it to get better outcomes, then Emma will be circulating, I think it's just an Excel link. It's pretty old school and basic because I hate technology. So feel free, if you see a slot in there that works for you, feel free to thank you, Emma. Thank you. I've noticed you've just circulated that. So click the link, just book it in. If none of the times work for you there, then just put a time in and I'll see if I can give that one to you. And yeah, book that in, because why not? You know, I mean, it's all about learning. It's all about up leveling. It's all about doing things differently, and doing the same thing again and again just isn't going to improve your dating game. And on a personal level for me, I just really enjoy doing that. So I love getting to know women in my audience. And I am a bit of a strategist, so I love it. So it would actually be a pleasure for me also. Okay, so I want to now myth bust a couple more things. I want a masculine energy man. No, you do not. And I know everyone is saying this. It is the thing that you are hearing everywhere, right? So what is a masculine energy man? A masculine energy man is a man who drives the relationship. He is in his world of action. He's driving the relationship. He's messaging you in the morning, messaging you in the night, planning fancy dates, telling you where to meet him. He's picking you up. He's basically doing everything, and there's precious little space for you to be involved in that relationship. And I know that that sounds really good to a lot of you, because often we've been in relationships where we've basically been driving it. So how refreshing that finally we actually get a man who's in his empowerment and he's actually going to drive that relationship also. But let's be honest here, Queens. I know I would be triggered as hell to... Yes, Ingrid, I've just seen your questions. It's UK time zone, so just drop in you. Sorry, Ingrid. You drop in your time zone for a call that would be appropriate for you, and I will just reach out to you directly and figure out what works best for you. Sorry, that is definitely GMT time zone. Okay, so yeah, imagine how triggered you would be if you were with a masculine energy man all the time. You would just feel controlled, right? So I would just like to invite you a reframe, which is that you are looking for a man who has balanced masculine and feminine energy, right? You want to connect with a man on his emotional level, his emotional world. You want to have soul mate connection in the emotional level, in the intellectual level, in the chemistry level, all the levels, right? You don't just want it to be a patriarchal relationship of convenience where the man is the provider and the protector and you are like in your feminine. You wouldn't even look. There's only so much we can do in one lifetime, and we're all masculine energy women, right? We can definitely learn to stop controlling and be more in our trust. But look, I invite you to consider that we're never really going to be easy breezy Maybelline women wearing flowery dresses and being carefree and never having our hopes and desires communicated. We are really good masculine energy women. There is no shame in that. And you're probably going to want a man who embraces that side of you. You're going to want a man that embraces the female empowerment side of you, right? So I offer you the reframe. You were looking for a man with balanced masculine and feminine energy. And one of the symptoms, the signs and symptoms that I often see, I definitely noticed that this in my own dating relationship world, is when I first adopted the concepts of feminine energy, I started to attract a very different man. So, okay, let me just explain, because we've got time, one more thing to you, which is the concept of the feminine and the masculine is this. You are very, very feminine. That's what you want to be, apparently. You are in your feminine. He is in his masculine. You're the world of emotions. You're like, I'm feeling statements. I communicate in a string of feeling statements. And he is like, I am the provider, the protector, the strategist, the doer. And then because there is such extreme polarity between you, right, like magnets, that is what causes attraction. And there you go. You both are attracted to each other. It's too simple, queens. It's not the way it is. Okay. What it is that you have the masculine and the feminine inside of you doing a dance with one another. Sometimes you are in your emotional world and sometimes you are in your action world. When we are too much in our action world, this is when we start to feel anxious. This is when we start to feel stressed because we're like doing. Let's do loads of things. I'm overworking, I'm over strategizing, I'm over problem solving. I can't sleep at night. I'm on Tinder till 2 a.m. We're too much in our masculine. If we were more in our feminine, we would be more in our trust energy, right? We would be trusting the emotional world. We would be trusting that things are going to work out for us, that the right man is going to come to us. But we're also doing things to get ourselves into a position where we meet that man. It's a balance. That's happening inside of your body. Now, in your external world, your masculine and your feminine is doing an intricate dance with the man also. So he might be in his masculine and you might be in your feminine. And then the next moment you switch and you're in your masculine and he's in his feminine. And that is soulmate connection. It's not so simple that because you're a woman, you should be in your feminine. And because he's in his masculine, he is the man. It's not that simple, right? And when we look at it with this simplicity, this is when you end up attracting men on the dating apps. And let me tell you, right, it does work. It does work. You will start, when you're in your feminine, you will attract men who are driving their energy towards you. They'll be chasing you, pursuing you, planning the dates. They'll do that for 2 or 3 weeks and then they'll get bored of you and then they will ghost you and you will never hear from them again. I know, look, hand on heart, I'm telling you the reason why they got bored of you. How do I know this? Because it happened to me as well. Okay. So I know it's harsh reality. Okay. I'm not saying this from a pedestal. Remember, I'm not teaching this stuff because my world is perfect and I do everything perfectly. It's because I fucked a bunch of shit up and I'm telling you now what to do from my own mistakes that I made. Right. So being in your feminine isn't enough. And that is going to move us on to point 3 very shortly. But I just want to round that off by saying you don't deserve to trade your identity in just to get a man. You are glorious just the way you are, in all your fucked upness, in all your dysfunction, in all your imaginary psychoses. You're perfect because that's what gives you the essence of your journey. And I always talk about, you know, walking into a relationship as a spiritual quest between you and yourself. It's not really about the man at all. And don't trade your identity in for a fake feminine energy version of yourself. It's not, you shouldn't have to do that, right? And that is why I don't teach this. And it's not because feminine energy isn't an accurate concept. It is, if implemented correctly. But I don't know, I made these mistakes and I notice when I'm speaking with women in our strategy calls, they're making the same mistakes as well. So yeah, Nisha, you say it sounds like Fleabag. I've watched Fleabag, but I can't remember. Yes, feel free. Thanks, Emma. Feel free to let Madge in. We are almost coming up to time, but yes, welcome, Madonna. Welcome, Madge. It's really lovely to have you here. You have come in at the end a little bit, but that's totally cool. I appreciate your time anyway. So we're just in the middle of myth busting feminine energy. And I was just going off on a rant about how you shouldn't trade your actual identity in just to get a man, right? Okay, and this is very much leading up to tomorrow's content, which is the empowered method. And the empowered method that I teach does contain feminine energy. I just don't ever refer to it because I feel like it's this over-intellectualization of what the feminine and the masculine is that causes a lot of confusion. And actually, we can just bypass it completely. Because look, why did we all come into the world of self-development in the first place? To get our soulmate partnership, right? And to experience the relationship between us and ourselves. So it's not about getting a PhD thesis on feminine energy. And I think sometimes we do get lost on this winding road. I know I certainly did. So tomorrow you will be getting a massive deep dive on the empowered method. We will be demystifying those dating apps. And you are also going to be getting my dating profile revamp training. That is yours if you turn up tomorrow live on the call. Okay, so I'm going to shortly round off, but I just want to give a little reminder that if you are interested in having your personalized one-to-one feminine energy strategy session with me, book it in. I don't have very many slots available. If those times don't work for you, then feel free to suggest another time and I will reach out. But I genuinely love doing it from my heart to your heart. So please feel free to do that. Future queens watching this as a recording, there should be a link popping up, as I mentioned earlier. So click that link, fill in your questionnaire, And we will do a massive revamp of your dating strategy and have a look at where you might be implementing feminine energy in a way that is not authentic to you. Okay, so where does this leave us? So I'm going to round this off now. Where does this leave us with the feminine energy concept? Feminine energy is 100% a real thing. It's seductive as hell. It's magnetic as fuck if implemented correctly, if implemented from a place of empowerment. And this is the most important thing, if implemented from a place of authenticity. What do I mean by that? Not trading in your identity to be some easy breezy Maybelline person, not being the nice girl, channeling the dark feminine and being real with yourself, right? Actually allowing yourself to be you in the dating process. So it's really all about connecting with your real magnetism. And I really do feel like there is a little bit too much focus at the moment on the light feminine. So that's joy, happiness, pleasure, warmth, love. And the reason for that is because we are boss bitches who boss our career worlds. And we have a tendency to be a little bit out of our feminine, and we live in a masculine energy world, which I explained at the very beginning. The most toxic thing about only embracing the light feminine is we throw our boundaries away. We're not implementing boundaries in the dating game, right? When we don't implement our boundaries, what that effectively means is we're going on those dating apps and we're having our self-worth knocked left, right, and center until at some point, we can't even bring ourselves to go onto the dating apps anymore. And queens, the dating apps, that's stage one of the relationship, right? And so many of you are getting caught up at that first hurdle, right? So it's so integral for our self-worth and our identity of who we are to actually implement feminine energy from a place of authenticity. And we're going to talk so much more about that tomorrow. Because what happens when we can't actually set boundaries? What happens is we can't allow intimacy because we can't trust ourselves to set boundaries with people when they cross them. The only other coping technique we have is avoidance. So we avoid going on the dating apps. We avoid connecting with men from our hearts. We avoid being in big friendship groups because we don't know how to get our way. We avoid spending time with our families because we don't know how to set boundaries around the things that they say that trigger us, right? So we end up living a very insular and isolated world where we can't allow intimacy in. So the dark feminine is so integral to allowing intimacy in our worlds, not just for the dating apps, but for relationship and for all parts of our worlds. So tomorrow we're definitely going to be talking a lot more about dating strategy and how to use those apps. We have a few minutes left. We have about 3 minutes left. So are there any questions or just any basic comments or thoughts on what we've gone through today? Did you resonate with it? And if you did, what parts of it did, felt like it mirrored your dating and relationship world? Was there something new or weird or fabulous that I said today and you're like, oh, I never thought about it from that angle? Let me know in the chat. I'm always interested to get your feedback because I always pitch these masterclasses to the level that I think you're at. And I know we had a very mixed crowd today, so I wanted to make sure that I basically addressed it from a level where everyone has something that they can take away and implement into their dating worlds. The other thing I just wanted to say, girls, is thank you. Thank you for turning up. Thank you for taking your precious time to listen to what I have to say about the feminine energy world. It really does mean so much to me because I'm so deeply passionate about it. So I appreciate you. I have absolutely loved being in your energy and sharing this content with you. I really hope you can make it tomorrow to learn more about the empowered method, which is something I'm so much more passionate about talking about and sharing with you because I don't teach feminine energy. And that is why I have some of the queens from my group coaching calls attending because, it's just something I just don't even touch it because there's so much confusion around it. So it really meant a lot for me to share that with you and to have you attend. So I'm really happy to have you guys here as well. So thank you. Thank you. And if that is everything for today, then I would like to end this call from the bottom of my heart. I have loved having you here so much. Thank you, queens. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So from the bottom of my heart, with all of my love, namaste. Take care, loves.